Welcome back to Buzz Recaps. Today, I will explain a romantic drama film released in 1970. Before moving ahead, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. The movie begins with a man named Vito who lives in Italy and is preparing to become a part of the Mafia, just like his uncle, and he succeeded in impressing the Mafia boss. The same boss, Stell, explained to Vito that sometimes it is beneficial for them to be punished for their crimes. At his request, Vito went to the police to tell them that Stella was ready for arrest. At the time of his arrest, Stella told Vito that he should now get married and take care of the family along with his work. Meanwhile, in Vito's mind, he was only thinking of becoming a Mafia boss. One day, Vito saw a beautiful girl named Francesca, and he told Francesca that he likes her. Later, Francesca belongs to a low-income family, and when she told her parents that Vito liked her, they couldn't believe it. Why would the only son of a wealthy family love her, although Vito wanted to marry her? However, he found out that Francesca had already been engaged to someone else. At that time, Francesca also started liking Vito, which did not seem reasonable to her fiancé. He threatened Vito and insulted him in front of everyone. However, humiliating him proved expensive for him. After learning the reality of Vito, he realizes how big a mistake he has made, and due to his mistake, he had to leave that city and Francesca forever. A few days later, Francesca got to visit Vito's house, and for that, she made some new clothes with her mother. Later, Vito and Francesca slowly started coming closer to each other and would get intimate when they got an opportunity. At the same time, Francesca's mother was unaware of their relationship. Soon, they decided to get married, and Francesca thought everything was going well. She didn't know that Vito was a dangerous man who was preparing to kill the man who was going to testify against Stella. He shifted his attention from Francesca to a poor man who needed a job. Vito promised him a job, and in return, that poor man killed the witness with the help of Vito. At the same time, Francesca saw the crime happening. That witness kept calling the name of Rosa in front of Francesca before his death, and Francesca couldn't save him even if she wanted to. On the other hand, when the witness was killed, Vito was present at the police station at that time. That's why the police couldn't arrest him for his crime. Moreover, Francesca's dream world starts to shatter when she discovers that Vito killed that witness. He also begins to tell Francesca to hide the truth. He took Francesca far away from there, but Francesca was still upset and thinking about the same man. Instead of making Francesca feel better, Vito tells her that Francesca can't leave him even if she wants to, because she is a poor girl, and no poor girl will ever leave the heir of a rich family. Francesca got angry at him, and she went back to her home, and Vito's real face started coming out. He started threatening Francesca because she was talking about breaking her marriage with him. At the same time, Vito couldn't bear that a girl rejected him, and he kept thinking because of his pride that Francesca would come to him the next morning and marry him. However, the next day, when Francesca did not come to sign the marriage papers, Vito felt humiliated. After breaking the relationship with Francesca, Vito returns to his life. He behaves as if he does not care about Francesca leaving him. Meanwhile, people from the rival gang came to see him. Instead of attacking him, they told him to be on their side for compromise. When Vito refused to compromise, they mentioned Francesca. They started making fun of Vito because a poor girl had rejected him. They made fun of him, which hurt Vito's ego, and he decided to do something horrible that Francesca had never even thought of. Later, together with his friends, he kidnapped Francesca and her brother and locked them up in a house far from the city. In that job, Vito's friend Clelia also helped them, who also loves Vito. After some time, at Francesca's request, Vito set Francesca's brother free, while no one knew when Francesca would be free herself. After that day, Francesca started living a hellish life because Vito would get intimate with her forcefully every day, and all of his friends also knew that. Meanwhile, Vito's real plan was to trap her in Italy's old and dirty tradition, which has been going on for centuries. According to that tradition, a girl has to marry the same man who gets intimate with her for the first time, even if that man has forced himself on her. Later, after completing his ridiculous plan, he sets Francesca free. Moreover, Vito doesn't know that Francesca is not one of those girls who doesn't raise a voice against him. Unwillingly, Francesca had to become a part of Vito's life, because everyone knew about the disgusting thing that happened to her. Later, all of them started preparing for their marriage. Francesca's parents couldn't say anything because her parents were told by those goons that Francesca was willing to live with Vito. When they found out the reality, they got scared, and for once, they also thought that Francesca was lying to them. They couldn't give Francesca justice even if they wanted to because they feared Vito. Meanwhile, Francesca was lost in thought day and night. What should she do next? To make the right decision, she went to the woman with whom the same incident happened years ago, which happened to Francesca in the present. She also had to marry without her will. That's why Francesca wanted to ask what she should do. After knowing about that woman's life and condition, she decided she would not live in fear of Vito. And the next day, she told Vito's friends that she was going to the police. The whole city found out that Francesca was going to the police station. Vito tried to threaten her and stop her. At the same time, Francesca's heart was out of fear forever. The police had been in a hurry to arrest Vito for years. And when they got the opportunity in the shape of Francesca, Vito and the whole city were eager to know what would happen. And soon, Francesca's mother, father, and younger brother were called to testify. However, Francesca's parents did not say anything about whatever happened to her in that city, and neither did those who saw everything that had happened to Francesca with their own eyes. After seeing them all, and thinking why did they not say anything, Francesca realized that she was utterly alone and that no one wanted to help her out of fear. Francesca still filed a case against Vito. The whole city thought that she was doing all that because Vito had refused to marry her. On the other hand, Vito decided to destroy Francesca, and one by one, problems started to arise in front of her family. Every day, her family was threatened so that she would agree to marry Vito. Meanwhile, Francesca has stopped being afraid and bowing to Vito. Meanwhile, Vito could not tolerate such humiliation. Later, the fear of losing his home and farm defeated Francesca's father, and he starts to explain to Francesca that she should marry Vito. Meanwhile, Vito had kept that man hidden and who had killed Vito's enemy for him. And forgetting an opportunity, he was preparing to send him out of the country. On the other hand, Francesca was getting away from her family, and the situation worsened when her father said he would testify in favor of Vito. Meanwhile, Francesca could not understand why her parents did not care about their daughter and care more about their land and property. However, she did not get any answer to her question. Out of anger, Francesca burned her whole house and the land her parents feared losing. Later, with his property destroyed, Francesca's father started hating and cursing her. Although more than cursing her, Francesca got hurt because she had no one in that world to rely on. On the other hand, Vito was also surprised to learn about Francesca's destroying her property, and he was told that she had left her house and started working in a cafe. Meanwhile, Vito was still not ready to admit his mistake and did not know that his enemies had called Francesca to their side. They also wanted to punish Vito for his crimes, so they wanted Francesca's help. They told Francesca that she would have to call Vito to an empty place where people do not come and go, and then she would have to get out of there. After this, Vito will be punished for his sins, which means they will kill Vito. After hearing them, for once, she accepted their offer to call Vito to an empty place. However, the next day, on the empty road, while driving, Francesca asks Vito if she would spare his life. Suppose he accepts all his crimes and also confesses what he did to her. Meanwhile, Vito knew that his enemies were using Francesca to kill him, and still, he didn't accept Francesca's demands. At that moment, Vito told Francesca to get out of the car, and Vito alone went to the empty place where his enemies were waiting for him. Vito found out that the man he was hiding from the police had come there to kill him. As soon as he saw Vito, the man lost his life in fear, and Vito survived. Returning, Vito had to go to the police station, where Francesca waited for him to make one last attempt. After trying everything, Francesca started to emotionally blackmail him so that he could tell them the truth. However, Vito does not listen to her. Instead, he insults Francesca and says that Francesca had affairs with different boys. When Vito finds out about her character, he refuses to marry her, and that's why Francesca takes revenge on him. The police officer once again explained to Francesca that if she took her case to court, she would have to face humiliation. However, Francesca did not back down, and as soon as she left the police station, some women attacked her. Those women's sons were working with Vito. Not only that, but later, the church priest also advised her that she should get ready for her marriage. After some time, Francesca discovers that Vito's friends have done something wrong with another girl. And when that girl raised her voice, the mothers of those boys also beat her badly. Seeing all that, Francesca's father could no longer sit quietly. He went to the police station and testified against Vito. In the end, Vito finds out that the police are coming to his house to arrest him and his friends. Finally, Francesca's fight ended. She won, and Vito was put in prison for his crimes. Those people who were slandering Francesca have started praising her. However, the praise didn't matter to Francesca. She didn't care about anyone anymore. With that, the movie ends here. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe. See you next time. Take care.